F1 announced on February 5th that they will again be changing the sprint format ahead of the 2024 season. This is the third change made to the format since its introduction to the sport in 2021. This new format promises to be an improvement over the several iterations that have came before it. In this revised format, Friday offers a similar amount of intensity as before, sticking with the singular FP1 session before heading into sprint qualifying, rather than a qualifying for the main race, and then going into the weird sprint shootout introduced in 2023, followed by the sprint race. Meanwhile, once we get to the main race on Sunday, fans are left to scratch their heads trying to remember what happened on Friday night in qualifying. Instead, the new format offers a much more straightforward order, allowing fans to remember what's happening. This is a positive change for the viewership over the weekend, as it makes sense to have the order to be qualifying sprint, qualifying race, rather than the strange qualifying race format from last year. Aside from the optimal viewing experience, this is also a huge change for the teams, because crucially, the teams are going to gather data during the sprint, and now they're allowed to change their setup based on those learnings during the sprint race. Previously, this would have been in violation of Parc Ferme regulations, and they would have to start from the pit lane. This means scenarios like the one in Coda last year, where Hamilton and Leclerc were disqualified because of worn planks, would have never been possible, as the team would have been allowed to make ride height adjustments ahead of the demanding Grand Prix distance. On one hand, this takes something away from the previous jeopardy of a sprint weekend, where there was significant pressure on teams to get the setup right immediately following FP1, the weekend's only real practice session, before locking it into Parc Ferme for the remainder of the weekend. This made the races much more unpredictable as to who could nail the setup out of the gate and be good the rest of the weekend. On the other hand, this is a more of a fair and reasonable approach, which changes the dynamic of the sprint from one that people would call spoiling the main race, and now one where we could see big swings in a team's relative performance throughout the weekend. So even if a team is terrible in the sprint, they still have a chance to redeem themselves before the start of actual qualifying and eventually the main race. Let me know what you guys think of this change. Will you miss the high stakes FP1 session on Friday? Or are you glad teams are allowed the option to further improve their car following the information gains that they will surely have following the Saturday sprint race? Let me know what you guys think. I'm seriously just trying to figure out what this channel is supposed to be or how to make videos or whatever. So, yeah, I hope you like it, and I'll see you next time.